secret conversations with Dominion for 3 or 4 years. The reality is the whole thing is absolutely incredible that I'm being told that I can't comment on the 2020 election and there was a policy to do so, when I probably have done it 500 times in the last 3.5 years without a single peep. And now my partner, Dr. Maria Ryan, is fired because she mentioned Newsmax. And there was also a policy not to mention Newsmax that I didn't know about. So you put the two things together and you realize I'm being fired because of deals that Catsimatidis was making behind everybody's back with Dominion to limit the news that's presented. And I screwed it up because of my big mouth.
This is Michael Popok with the Legal AF update. You know, things are going bad for Rudy Giuliani when even a billionaire Republican who owns his radio station suspends him because Rudy Giuliani refuses to stop talking about the lie that there was election fraud in 2020. John Catsimatidis, who's the $4 billionaire who owns Gristedes, I don't know if you've ever been to New York. It's a supermarket here in New York, and whose daughter, Andrea, is the Republican chairperson of the Republican Party in New York, and also self-identifies herself as a billionaire heiress on her Instagram. Well, they own a local, very influential or well-known radio station here in New York City, WABC, and Rudy Giuliani has a show on it. I had forgotten that Rudy Giuliani had a show and was still on the air with a radio show until I read his bankruptcy filings last week, in which he said that his sole source of incomes were his pension and some meager income from his podcast and from his radio show. Well, not any longer, because he's crossed so many lines that even Republican supporters of Donald Trump have said he's gone too far. You know you're doing poorly when you've lost the Catsimatidis family in New York, who are rabid MAGA Trump supporters. I mean, when the owner of Gristedes, for example, was interviewed about the suspension, John Catsimatidis, he said the following: "We're not going to talk about the fallacies of the November 2020 election. We warned Giuliani once. We warned him twice." And then I get a text from him last night. This is the owner of Gristedes, the supermarket. And I got a text from him this morning, and Giuliani refuses not to talk about it on his radio show. So I had no option. I suspended him. Later on, in the same interview with the New York Times, Catsimatidis told the Times that at the close of his WABC show on this Thursday, and I'm going to play a clip for it next, Giuliani tried to speak about the 2020 election, but was cut off by the station employees. They had a kill switch for Rudy Giuliani. Oh, he's going off the line again, off the chain again, off. And look, Catsimatidis told the New York Times, look, I like this guy, being Giuliani as a person, but you can't do that. You can't cross the line. Of course, he's MAGA Trumper, so he can't help himself, but to also say in the same breath, my view is that nobody really knows about the 2020 result. Really? The safest, most secure election in the history of America. So says the head of cybersecurity under the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice. But to John Catsimatidis, supermarket baron, he said, we really don't know, but we have made a company policy. It's over. Life goes on. Move on, Rudy. Now, this is going to be a tremendous hit to Rudy Giuliani, because Rudy Giuliani doesn't have a lot of sources of income. He's showing $500 million worth of debt against, which includes $168 million judgment that's running, federal judgment on behalf of Shea Moss and Ruby Freeman. But he's got other claims against him, including ones brought or going to be brought by Smartmatic, by Dominion Voting Systems for defamation and the like. So he's only got about $50,000 worth of assets other than real estate. Let's add the real estate in and call it an even $6 million. $6 million on the side of assets, $500 million on the side of potential liabilities and judgments, candidate for bankruptcy. Yet, as I've reported earlier, Rudy Giuliani continues to play fast and loose with the bankruptcy code. He's not making his filings. He's spending over $20,000 a month on his living expenses, paying for other people's debts and credit cards, while not one dime has gone to his creditors, including judgment creditors who stand at the top of the pack after the Internal Revenue Service and tax payment. And now another source of income. No more Rudy on WABC radio. Now, look, I don't know what he made on that show. A couple of shekels a month, but whatever it was, it should be going towards the creditors. He should be, and this is really a message to the bankruptcy judge, Judge Lane in New York. Rudy Giuliani should be made and forced to sell at least one, if not both, of his pieces of real estate. He should be made to sell the Palm Beach condo. He should be made to sell the Upper East Side condominium or apartment here in New York. That $4 or $5 million should be going primarily to the judgment creditors of his, and he's going to have to live on something less than what he makes now. The problem is that Rudy Giuliani doesn't really have sources of money or the ability to recharge his finances. He has a relatively simple financial life now, right? A little bit of money from the podcast, no money now from the radio show, a pension that he gets from being a mayor of the city of New York. I think he might get a pension from the Department of Justice when he worked as the U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York here in New York. Hard to believe so long ago. Of course, if he's continued to be convicted of these crimes, and if he gets convicted of one of the crimes that he's been indicted for in Arizona or in Georgia, he could well lose those pensions. There's ways to claw back pension for misconduct after the fact. And so we'll have to see if he continues to get his pension. But nobody wants to hire Giuliani law firm, Giuliani consulting firm, Giuliani illegal lobby firm. Who wants to do that? Even MAGA is not supporting him. I mean, even John Eastman, the crackpot constitutional lawyer for Donald Trump, who's also been indicted, he still has clients. He's trying to beg the state bar in California to, while there's a disbarment proceeding going on and a recommendation that he be disbarred, he still wants to represent clients like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz. He's at least getting clients. Who wants to hire Rudy Giuliani? He's so radioactive that even super MAGA donors, that sounds like an old Walt Disney lost movie, that even they don't want to support Rudy Giuliani. So we got to continue to report on Rudy Giuliani, because not only is he indicted co-conspirator with Donald Trump in at least two, Arizona and in Georgia, but soon to be, I think, in Nevada and Michigan as well, as he fights for his law license, which he's lost in two different jurisdictions, in D.C. and in New York. And the sad tale of one of the coup plotters and coup leaders in Rudy Giuliani. Look, we follow all this in one place, not because we want to, although I do take a special delight in it, but because we have to. We don't blow smoke or sunshine here on the MeidasTouch Network. Follow me, Michael Popok. I host a podcast on Wednesdays and Saturdays called Legal AF. Join us. You'll find out why. Wednesdays, I'm joined by Karen Friedman Agnifilo. Saturdays, with my co-founder, Ben Meiselas. And then on hot takes like this one, at the intersection of law and politics, I don't know, about every hour, about every half hour, depending upon what's happening, only on the MeidasTouch Network, and help them get to 3 million free subscribers. We're building this network with our own bare hands, and we really need your help. This is the network you've been looking for. We've got no outside investors. If you like what I'm doing, leave me a comment, a thumbs up. It really does help. It signals to the algorithmic gods you like my work. It's not ego, it's reality. Keeps me on the air. Slide over to the MeidasTouch YouTube channel and look for playlists or contributors, and Michael Popok. You'll find all my, 1,100 or more hot takes and podcasts all listed there. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting. Heary, Legal AF Law Breakdown is now in session. Go beyond the headlines and get a deep dive into the important legal concepts you need to know, and we discuss every day on Legal AF. Exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, all for the price of a couple of cups of coffee. Join us at patreon.com/legalaf. That's patreon.com/legalaf.